right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Neck Up Live. My name is Jeff Ramey with my co-host Eugene Collins, and this evening we have 2021 Memphis High School graduate and current Marshall baseball player Elijah Vogelsong. So welcome to the show, Elijah.
Thank you.
Elijah was a multi-sport athlete, baseball, football, and basketball at Memphis. Is a senior at Marshall. And last season, he started 47 games, led the team with 9 home runs, 29 RBIs, 34 walks, 4 triples, and only 2 errors all season as an outfielder. So led the team in multiple categories, had a great season. Congratulations on your success last year. And can you just tell us a little bit how you're building up on that in the fall right now?
I just really trying to do what I've always done, honestly, these last couple of years, and just, looked at what I'd done wrong and what I needed to fix, and making it more simple than it is, just taking it one step at a time. And I think that's what's really helping me. I'm trying not to look too in depth of it. I'm just trying to give it all I got in one category at a time. So that's about it.
Try to keep it simple.
Yes, sir.
So Elijah, I know we gave you a copy of our journal, and I know you've had some time to look at it. One thing we really talk about is time management. We say that either you're managing your time or your time is managing you. So can you kind of give us a day-to-day, like how do you manage your time? Is it pretty much managed for you? I know you have a very structured schedule, but just how important is that to manage your time well?
Honestly, yeah, we have a pretty structured schedule, but it really, going between school and ball, you really kind of have to manage it. You got to, just like I said, taking it one thing at a time. It's almost you take, daily. I usually, when I wake up, I have a slot, stuff I do in the morning, okay, in the morning, I'm going to make sure I'm ready for the day. So I'm going to, wake up and get all my stuff together, make sure that I don't have to, when I get to the field, I'm at the field. I don't have to, go do anything else. I'm here, get all my stuff done here. In the evening times, I do my homework, just really, and then in the evening times, do my homework, make sure that I'm ready when I wake up for the next day. You know what I mean? So it's kind of just taking one step at a time. Try to be good where my feet are in the day. Try to feel like that, and I think that really makes it a lot easier than what it seems to be. You know what I mean? Just taking one step, you get a task and you just look at it and make sure it's done before you focus on the next one. So that's really the most simple way I could explain it, to be honest. So
okay. We also talk about the importance of having a good morning routine and a good bedtime routine. First hour, last hour. Is that something you try to do as well?
Yeah. So when I wake up, I have this thing by my bed that has a daily like a devotional, and every day I flip the page to the day it is, and I kind of read it off, and it kind of it gives me a minute to just reflect on and just think about what I'm going to work on that day. And like I said just a second ago, taking one thing at a time, I think that is also, it helps me do that. When I already know what I'm going to do that day, the day before, when they send out the schedule. So when I wake up, I read that, I'm thinking, all right, this is what I'm going to do today. This is how I'm going to do it. I'm ready when I step out the door, it's go time. So I think that is definitely a big thing mentally for me, something that I started doing in the last year, just being ready so I don't got to get ready. You know what I mean? So, so that's something that I do. And to end off the day, like I said, really, it has to do a lot with homework, considering we get out of practice pretty late a lot of the times. And right before bed, usually just preparing, get my clothes ready, get my bags packed so that when I wake up, I'm ready. So that's really what my evening time routine is, to be honest.
Okay. So last year you started 47 games. I think I looked back, your freshman year you started 20, sophomore year 22. So last year Coach Bills gave you an opportunity and you took advantage of it. But how hard was it for you to be patient before you got your opportunity?
So I'm gonna be honest. It was really tough, coming out of high school. You think like everybody that comes to school like this, they think, you're the guy, like this and that. Like you played all through high school. You're probably, if you played at this level, you were probably pretty good in high school.
Mhm.
And I just had to learn like, everybody has a role, and that you got to earn your role, and it's not gonna be handed to you.
Mhm.
And yeah, some people, they're just some people. There's a lot of people. There's always going to be someone that's better than you,
Mhm.
whether you think it or not. No matter how good you are, there's always going to be a better guy. So,
Mhm.
um, you know, really just um, taking all the losses I had and all the times I failed, and just learning from them instead of getting mad that I lost or failed or struck out or did whatever. Just um, being like, all right, this is what I did. This is what I don't need to do this next time. And
Mhm.
then you just slowly, like, it just builds up and turns into wins. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that that was a big thing that really helped me. And my first year and my second year, I feel like I could have done it, but I didn't deserve it. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? I feel like I could have, but I did definitely, and I had to
Mhm.
learn what it took to deserve it.
Mhm.
So I think that was the aspect that really just switched it around for me, and that now it just comes. And I feel like it gave me confidence too, like knowing that no matter how many times I get beat, I'm not gonna lay down. It's not gonna be like, okay, like I'm ready to go the next at bat. So it's just a different mental look at it, I think. And
Mhm.
I think having that is really the main thing that you know boosted me a little bit to get that more shots and opportunities, and kind of
Mhm.
like more of leeway. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Elijah, was it your coach at Marshall, or who gave you the mentality that each situation is independent of the other?
um, so definitely, probably Coach Beals helped me a lot with that when I got here. I mean, when I got here, it was Coach Wags, which
Yeah.
Wags, we get along, awesome dude, love Wags. He gave me the opportunity to play here, but I only was there with him for like a year. So, but when
Mhm.
Coach Beals got here, he kind of just he really really helped me with my mental game. I think
Right.
like what you just said, and that was what I was really lacking. So. Um, he just every day when he shows up, he always tells us, he's going to be ready for us, what we got going on that day. And I feel like when you have somebody like that shows up and tells you that, and that they show up with energy, and they really focus on the little things. I think that it makes you want to not disappoint them, and you want to show up and you want to play for them, and
Right.
things like that.
Right.
So yeah, he definitely really instilled that, and I think it stuck with me ever since he told me that. So.
Good. Good.
Elijah, I think, and I don't know other areas, but Southern High, we kind of have a reputation for guys going away to play and not sticking it out.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
You had every opportunity to quit. To give up. You maybe weren't getting the opportunity you thought you should have, or whatever, but you did not do that. Why do you think you stuck it out? Tell me a little about your upbringing. Who instilled your work ethic in you, your mental toughness, your discipline. Where does that come from? And why do you think you stuck it out when a lot of kids would have walked away from the game?
I think honestly, my parents, I'm thankful and blessed. God blessed me with amazing parents that they just made me work from a young age, like, and kind of earned the things that I got when I was growing up. And my dad, he was in the military, so he really raised me like kind of hard, like military type, you know, upbringing. And I remember, so I got to college, and my freshman year, obviously didn't play that much. Well, it started 20 games, like you said, or something like that. And I was, obviously, as a competitor, you're going to be upset about that. You're not going to,
Mm-hmm.
be like, I started 20 games or whatever. I'm just a freshman. No, like, it's like, I want to play. So you're kind of upset about it. And, played summer ball. And my dad would always tell me, like, keep going. Like, he would always just tell me every time I talked to him, keep going, keep, give it everything you got. And whatever happens, it'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
And, So I got into my sophomore year and I tore my calf in the fall. And I was like, like it was my year, I thought, I'm gonna play this year, like, and it really, devastated me. And I thought, I thought about quitting. I got to a really bad mental spot, like we were talking about before. Like, I mean, I was living by myself. I was alone. Talking about it right now makes me, makes me feel kind of soft. But I mean, it's a real thing. Like people go through it, like.
Yeah.
And so my dad calls me. I was so down on myself. Like I was, I had a gun to my head. Like I was thinking about taking my life, and this is not something that, I always used to think like, oh, no one would ever do that. How would they take the, it's a real thing.
Right.
So I was going to do that, and I remember I was sitting there, and something just made me like I thought about my parents. I thought about everybody who had helped me get to where I'm at, and like what they would think if I'd done that. Like what everything that I'd worked for my whole life, it'd be all down the drain if I did that. Like all the hours, the time, it would all be over. So, I thought that I didn't do it, whatever. And I remember I was still down, and I called my dad, and he got mad at me. And I'm thinking, I'm upset, like I'm crying on the phone, and he's mad at me right now. And he said, "You need to man up and pick yourself up by your bootstraps." He said, "You're blessed." He's like, "There's so many people who would want to be doing what you're doing. And you're sitting here and you're on the phone and you're crying to me about it." He said, "You have an opportunity to do something great. Like you're hurt, like whatever. Like you could show people that you're tough enough to come back from this. Like, no matter what." Like he's like, "I know that I raised you not to quit." And he said, "You're not going to quit. I know." Like he said, "I know you're not." And after he told me that, I got off the phone and I'm thinking like, I can't let my dad and my family down. Like that's just not the type of person I want to be. You know what I mean? And honestly, that's what really, really made. And ever since that time in my life, I think I really just like flipped the switch, and like everything, I started having a different perspective on things. Like, instead of looking at my cup half empty, I would look at it like, oh, how full it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so like now, like I always think of like, I always think of the Bible verse, like the righteous man will fall 7 times and get up 8, but the wicked will fall, but the wicked will fall into mischief. And that's what I always think about, that every single time, like something happens, like, where I'm like, daggone, like it's so upsetting, but you know what, like, I'm not going to let that, I'm not going to be that guy, So, I think just my parents and, my upbringing, like I've been blessed with that, but, that's definitely a thing, like just thinking about the people that so many, like you don't realize, I mean, a lot of people don't realize, like I know you guys do, whatever, that people help people get to where they're at. Like I know you guys probably wouldn't be where you're at up for some people, like you can't do it by yourself. People think they can, but you can't. So like if you think about, if you quit, what would the people that helped you get where you're at think? Like you're quitting on them too. It's not like you're just quitting. It's not all about you. And once, I got that selfishness out of me and started thinking about other people, it's hard to quit. It really is hard to quit. So I think that's one thing that really helps me like push myself. When I get tired or down, I think like, all right, like there's a lot of people who want to be doing this, and I'm going to make the most of it. I'm not going to quit, so. So that's a big thing for me.
Elijah, there's a big difference between making the decision to quit a sport, the game of baseball, and you thinking about taking your own life. I mean, do you think you had those thoughts because you were putting too much of your identity in the game of baseball, or was there some other factors that were causing you to have those feelings?
Yeah, I think I was just, my whole life had led up to like, okay, I'm gonna, I gotta play ball, I gotta succeed, like if I'm not 3 for 4, I'm mad at myself. It's the end of the world. So like, if you have that attitude your whole life, and then you go from not being able to play, you're hurt, you just keep getting beat down with all this, like, I don't know, you're by yourself, you don't know anybody at the school, like, you're in college now, you're away from home. Like, I mean, I'm not far away from home, but like, I'd never been in another school. So it's like, and I just thought like, I was looked at as like an idiot. Like, I just thought I didn't have no self-confidence. I thought, like you said, yeah, I put too much into baseball and thought like my life was over after I couldn't play. And, I feel like an idiot for thinking that. But I mean, it's a real thing, and a lot of people go through it, but God created us for more than that. And,
Absolutely.
so, and I believe in, a higher power. So I think that once I got back into that and started thinking more towards the selfless side of things, that definitely helped me.
Well, Elijah, one of the other things that you always got to think about, and you got to remember, it's kind of hard when you're young, but you've made a major impact on a lot of people in, Medford, the Muletown area. You have no idea how many little kids want to wear a jersey that you wore at Medford. Or in their backyard pretending to be you, whether it be swinging a bat or playing football or shooting a basketball. And so, never lose sight of the impact that you have had on younger people or even older people coming from your neighborhood, because you do. You really do.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. And, that's like you just said, that's one thing that, just having people, reach out and, just it made me think like you said, why the reason I don't ever want to quit, and I'm not going to unless they tell me I can't play anymore. You know what I mean? Like, and it just makes me want to go and just thinking about other people. And once I got off myself and looked at others and, realized, then that made it a lot easier for me to not quit.
Right.
Yeah, Elijah, I dealt with the same. I mean, I never did think about suicide, but I definitely had my emotions were basically determined by how successful I was as a baseball player, So you're definitely not the only one that dealt with that. I did, and I guarantee you there's a lot of your teammates that do as well. How do you still have some performance anxiety, and how do you deal with that if you do?
I definitely, there is times, I feel like you're always going to deal with that a little bit. I feel like it's kind of hard, especially in front of big crowds and things, just coming from a small area. I wasn't used to that when I got up here. And so, yeah, there's always going to be that. And definitely I don't have it as bad as I used to, just because, like, I mean, when you have to have self-worth, like, and you have to have, if you have a strong why and why you play and, and you surrender the outcome of, if you win or lose, I mean, you want to win, but if you go out there, surrender the outcome, give everything you have, then that's how you get rid of a lot of that anxiety. Like, and you really, like, there's another thing that who told me this? I can't remember, but I think I might have even seen it on Twitter. I don't remember, but they said you just have to stop caring what other people think. Like, when you're out there, you guys have played sports, like, and even in life and everything, there's always going to be people that say things and do things, and they're critiquing you and telling you, like, you can't do this, you're not that, like. And once you just stop caring what they think and worry about what you're doing, then it makes it a lot easier. And I think just surrendering the outcome. And Coach Bills also said something to us 2 years ago, my sophomore year, that stuck with me. He told us the story of it was the story of the samurai soldier or something like that, and it was about how, like, before they go into battle, they surrender the outcome and they surrender that they are probably going to die. And it's the same thing. I feel like obviously we're not playing for life or death, but before you go out there, you kind of have to surrender that. Yeah, you might strike out. Yeah, but if you're going to strike out, you're going to strike out, giving everything you got. So, I think that really gets rid of a lot of anxiety and has helped me this last year and a half with my performance.
Another part of our journal, and I think you kind of touched on a little bit, is having daily gratitude and daily affirmation. Is that something that you do? And if so, how important do you think that is?
Yeah, I mean, obviously sometimes you kind of find yourself getting away from being thankful and, having that type of gratitude of where you're at. And, you know, like I said earlier, I think there's someone that's always better, but there's also someone that's always worse. This is the way I think of it. And, you know, once you realize that and, be where your feet are and just look around, take a deep breath and just appreciate all the little things that happen and that the good things, the bad, like it could always be worse. Yeah, it could always be better, but it definitely could always be worse. And I think really just like I said earlier too, it all goes together. Like, I mean, taking one thing at a time. I mean, is a big thing that I've started to do instead of, trying to think I can handle everything when you can't. I mean, when you stretch yourself too thin, you won't be able to do it. Like you really got to focus on one thing at a time. And I think that's how I've started to do that, is just be where my feet are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Elijah, is something else that, from a spiritual perspective, a lot of times, particularly as men, we want to be macho and we want to think that we can handle everything. But a lot of times, man, you just got to pray and give it to the Lord and let the Lord handle the situation that you think you need to try to solve or fight yourself, and he'll work it out. He always does. He always will.
Yeah, he never fails. I mean, there's been so many times where I've just been, so down. And I mean, even at some times where I felt like it's the best time of my life, like I've started to just be thankful for everything. Like when I'm down, I just start being thankful for, like, I have this, I'm thankful for this, thankful for that. And it always seems to like ease my mind a little bit and, make me feel a lot better.
Absolutely.
What are you studying, Elijah? What do you want to do once your baseball career is over?
So I'm studying sports management with a minor in business right now. Yeah, I'll be graduating in the spring, so I'll be done with that. And so after, I would like to, play ball as long as I can, but after my career's over, I want to open up a sports facility and down in Portsmouth, because I mean, there's not really any big sports facilities.
Right.
I want to start one with, where, you can train high-end athletes. College guys can come in young. I want to help the young guys. Like, a lot of people in the area helped me when I was young, learning the game. And like, I feel like I wouldn't be here or even have the love of the game I have if it wasn't for people like that,
Yeah.
So I want to just continue to do that. And I'll be probably helping with my mom and dad's rental house business too. That's why I kind of want to get the business degree, just so I was better with that. But my passion is definitely, I want to come back and have like strength training, everything. I want to have a big facility, and get that going down in Portsmouth. I think there's a need for it for sure. Instead of having to drive to Columbus, for it or whatever.
Right. I just thought of something. Do you guys have a sports psychologist or a mental performance coach on staff or available to you?
Yeah, we have all that. I mean, we have everything we could really ask for here, and they really do a lot to help us. And I think that
so do they touch base with you as a team on a regular basis, or are they only available to individuals that seek out their services?
So they come, and like at the beginning of every year they'll like say, like, here's where their place is at, here's our number, here's how you can contact us. But I think what it is it's more like you reach out to them if you want to meet one-on-one or whatever. You can just walk in if you want. But they kind of keep it to where, like, you don't have to, the team doesn't know that if you're going, what I mean? Like, they kind of have it like to where you can just reach out. But we do have, like, I mean, last year, remember, we done it every Wednesday. We did like a team meeting, and we all, like a family, we all talked. And like, if someone was going through something, they could talk about it. Like, we talked about the mental side, like breathing, how you should, when you're in stress situations, how, you can take deep breaths. And, how talked about kind of how, like, they compared Navy SEALs, how, they'll do this training where they run miles and miles, and then they'll have to make them hit a sniper shot. Some of the breathing techniques they do to calm their heart rate down and different things. And we talk about that. But, I feel like that's another good thing that's helped me too when I'm kind of amped up and, crowds going and
Right.
tough situation, just looking around and thinking like I'm blessed to be here, taking a deep breath and
Yep.
just letting it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, could you give our audience a little view of your backdrop there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool. There you go.
Sure. Yeah, here, you can see that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, this is our meeting room. This is where we meet as a team.
Yeah.
I would love to take you through the locker room, but I probably would get in trouble for that right now since we're on live. But
yeah. Well, I just
But,
appreciate. Listen, I just appreciate you agreeing to join us.
this is awesome.
I really appreciate you kind of opening up and sharing, some of the stuff you've dealt with. I think that is going to be so helpful. Because I'll be honest, I mean, the first time I met you, remember I came and spoke to the baseball team at Menford.
Yes, sir.
And you had a presence about you. You looked like a professional, I had no doubt you were going to be successful. I mean, just the way you talked, the way you carried yourself, the way you shook my hand, the way you looked at me in the eye when you spoke to me. And I started asking, who's this Elijah Vogelsong kid? Brent Daniels and Josh Mattis were two of my former teammates.
Mm-hmm.
And they both, and I spoke to them separately, and they both said, you would love to coach that kid. He said, you would absolutely love him. That they said you were a throwback, which means you have a work ethic, you have grit, you have resilience, which all you've shown. But I'm just so happy for the success you had. And even with all that, I mean, you're a handsome young man, you're smart, athletic, but you never know what's going on in somebody's mind.
You never do. Yes, sir.
And I just think it's very powerful for you to share that. And I just appreciate it.
Well, I thank you guys this is awesome. I mean, there's so many people that I think would really benefit from this and your guys' journal for mental performance. And, that's something that a lot of athletes, I think, they don't really practice. I mean, like when you get to, so like another thing, like I don't want to, talk too much, but this is something I forgot to even say earlier. Like Coach Beals, he talks about how when you get to a certain level, the talent gap gets smaller and smaller. And you know this, you've both played in high level sports. I mean, the talent gap gets smaller and smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So all the other things factor into who plays, who is successful. I've been here and seen some kids who could play in the MLB right now that are sitting at home just because of their mental game. They didn't do this, they did that. And so it's just something that I feel like if a lot more people really bought into that, they'd be successful. And it's something that was holding me back and I didn't even know how long it was holding me back. Like, I wish I would have knew what I knew now 3 years ago. I think I'd be in a different spot. So, this is awesome. Everybody can learn, from different things. But yeah.
Well, Elijah, keep doing good, man. And what you got to understand is not only Memphis, but all of Sauter County are rooting for you. You're a success story in more ways than you can ever imagine. I know your parents have got to be proud of you. Keep going from a spiritual standpoint. Keep fighting a good fight, man. And understand this, they took Jesus Christ to the cross. So, when you think about why people criticize you, they criticized him. So they're going to criticize, And if you give perspective, again, everything will become independent of the other. But I appreciate your time, and I really enjoyed talking with you.
Hey, I appreciate both of you. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Eugene. This is awesome. It's been a blessing for you guys to have me on here.
Well, it's been a blessing to us, and it's going to be a blessing to a lot of our athletes that are going to be listening. So I can't thank you enough. And And please know if there's any way we can help you at any point. If you need to talk to somebody, please reach out. Please reach
Well,
out.
thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
All right, Elijah. Good luck, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Take care.
All right, buddy.